I welcome you all once again for another study in the series of Who is Jesus. Today we are going to study about the second coming of Jesus Christ. We have seen earlier that how he was the Messiah, how he was the Son of God, at the same time Son of Man, and how he is interceding for us in heaven. And today we are going to read about the event which is yet to happen, and this is the blessed event that every Christian is hoping to see in their lifetime. Uh, i'm i'm glad, and I really want to see while I'm still living when Jesus appears on the clouds in on this earth. So I hope this is your blessed hope too, in your Christian walk. And who can say that they don't like to see Jesus coming? But there are differences, there are things that we need to learn about this, because Satan is at work deceiving even the second coming of Jesus, so that he could gain even few people, those who are not well informed about Jesus' second coming. There are many false theories out there. If we do not read our Bible carefully, that we would be deceived by these false theories. So we will begin. We will right away go into the study. We know that in John chapter 14, verses 1 to 3, that Jesus is telling that he is going to heaven to prepare a place for each and every one of us. And once that is done, he will come and take all of us to heaven. And in the last study also, we started with the same verse, and we learned that he is not there just building houses or mansions for his people, whereas he is interceding for each and every one of us. So we are in a scene of a pre-judgment time, where each of our thoughts, our actions, and motives are being weighed in the scales of heaven, and the angels are noting down our every thoughts and actions, whether we are worthy to enter into heaven, whether we are worthy to eat from the tree of life or not. Our thoughts, our actions are determining whether we would fall in the category of faithful or unfaithful. So, what happens when this judgment ends? What happens when Jesus finishes his intercessory prayer? What happens when he comes as a King of Kings and Lord of Lords to claim his people, is what we are going to learn today. Acts chapter 1, verses 9 to 11 reads this way, and I would like to read this verse once again. Acts chapter 1, verses 9 to 11. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. One of the thing that we can easily grasp from this is that Jesus was taken by a cloud while he was speaking to them, and he was taken up to heaven while disciples were looking at Jesus. And then angels are coming and talking the same manner. Jesus will come, and you can see. One of the false theories out there says that when Jesus comes, we will not come to know, because he is going to come as a thief, and there is going to be a secret rapture which is going to happen. And we are going to see through the scriptures, is it so, or is it some kind of a false theory which is bringing deception into the faithful people? So this verse clearly says how he was taken up on a cloud, he will come down on the same way on the cloud, and he will appear to his disciples, not only to disciples, Revelation chapter 1 verse 7 says, every eye shall see him. That means only disciples had seen Jesus taking up to heaven, but while coming down, every people would be able to see Jesus coming on the cloud. There's one more verse I would like to read. Matthew chapter 24 verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. What we are seeing here again, every man on this earth could see Jesus coming. And he is not coming just very simple, like how was his first coming. He came as a very humble child in a lowly manger, that he was not born in a palace. He was not born to the king, whereas his birth was missed out by many people because it was a very humble appearance during his first time. Whereas his second coming will not be like how it was so humble during his first visit to this earth. It is going to be with full power and with great glory. We know that what happened in the Mount of Transfiguration. We can see that in Matthew chapter Matthew chapter 17 verse 2. And and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. His face shone as a sun. It was full of glory, full brightness. So if disciples only beheld Jesus on this Mount of Transfiguration, whereas during his second coming, all of the people, those who were living at that time, could see Jesus coming in the clouds and with full power and great glory. Not only Jesus is appearing there, it is also mentioned he is accompanied with angels. Matthew chapter 25 verse 31, it reads, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. He is coming with power and great glory. Not only he is coming, he is accompanied with all the holy angels with him. He is not simply coming with one or two angels. We know in Daniel chapter 7 verse 10 that there are thousands of angels ministering to God. 10,000 times 10,000s were beside the throne room of God, waiting to do what the God is asking them to do. They are ministering angels, ministering spirits for the humanity. And all of these holy angels are going to come with Jesus. Do you think that this is going to be a dull event, or you imagine that this is going to be a glorious event where the glory, even it is going to be more brighter than the sun in its full strength, that every eye could see that Jesus is coming and Jesus is approaching the earth with all his angels. That's why in Revelation chapter 8 verse 1, there was silence in heaven because Jesus is coming with all his holy angels to this earth. So we had seen that this is not an event that would be missed by people. This is not an event which is going to happen in secret, because Jesus is going to come in full glory, even with all his angels. Even one angel in his full glory appeared at the time of resurrection, that the guards who were guarding the tomb of Jesus fell flat like dead because they could not behold the glory of this one angel. Just imagine 10,000 times 10,000 angels are coming along with Jesus. Can we beheld that glory. So this is going to be a visible event. This is not only going to be a visible event, this is also going to be an audible event. First Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16, I would like to read. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. What is it saying here? Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. He is not coming or sneaking into this earth like a thief, whereas he is coming with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, with the trump of God. There are trumpets blown when Jesus approaching this earth. There are voices, the shout of Lord himself we are going to hear. There's one more verse I would like to read. It is found in Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 30. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words, and say unto them, the Lord shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy inhabitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. He is going to come with a roar on high. So this event definitely is going to be an audible event, because there is trumpet, there is a shout of an archangel, there is also roar of God from high. Not only that, there are other events which is going to happen. This is found in Revelation chapter 6. Revelation chapter 6, verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. We see that the earth is shaken to such a level that the mountain disappeared on the surface of this earth, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Islands are no longer to be seen. Revelation chapter 16 is recording some other event at the same time. Revelation chapter 16 verses 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. There is a mighty earthquake which never happened since the creation of this world. Do you remember there was an earthquake when Jesus died, when he gave up his ghost at the cross? And we are also seeing the earthquake again when he is coming, and this is going to be the mightiest of earthquake which ever happened on this earth. And also Second Peter chapter 3 verse 12 records that the elements will melt with fervent heat. So this is going to be an event which is going to be visible, audible at the same time, which is going to shake this world, and everybody who is on this earth will notice of this event. Then why there are people who says that this event is going to take place like a thief in the night? If you have your apps, Bible apps in your phone, you can search where and all this thief in the night verses appears. You could see very clearly every time this comes, there is a word which is mentioned in that verse, the day of the Lord. It is not the manner of his coming which is going to be as a thief in the night, whereas it is the day of the Lord which is going to be like the thief in the night. Because if he is the one created all of this earth and everything which is in it, including us, why he needs to come as a thief? He can come gloriously, how the scripture portrays. So some people misunderstood the scriptures, have taken the scriptures out of context, and they made a different theology, whereas Bible says that he is going to come with great power and great glory, with all the holy angels with him. So the day of the Lord is, is not known to us, whereas his manner of coming is revealed. One more portion which says in Luke chapter 17, verses 34 to 36. It reads this way, that it talks about two groups of people in the last days. Luke chapter 17, verses 34 to 36. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken, and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken, the other left. Two men shall be in the field. The one shall be taken, and the other left. So there are two groups of people. One is taken, other is left. So this is because they were secretly taken to heaven. Is it the same case, or is it telling something else? At the end of the time, at the end of all the judgment, there is going to be only two groups. One is faithful, another is unfaithful. One is obedient, and another one is disobedient. One is the beloved of the Lord, another is not loving God with all their heart. And also, this we could see throughout the Bible, there is always two groups of people. Only Noah and his family were saved, the rest of the people were not saved. So we see that Abraham was chosen as God's servant, whereas other people not. We see God's people as well as the people who loved and cherished the things of the world. There is always two groups of people. So what we see here, two men sleeping on this bed. Sleep represents a death. So what we see here, it is representing the people who are dead and buried under this earth. This dead people has two classes. One is faithful, another is unfaithful. Among those who are sleeping, one group will be taken, other group will be left out. How can I say two men on bed sleeping equals to those who are dead? If you go and read the portion of Lazarus being dead and resurrected by Jesus, Jesus tells that Lazarus is sleeping. Later, when disciples could not understand, he says, Lazarus is dead in plain words. Whereas he went and he called his name and he came forth. So death is equal to sleep, and these two men sleeping in one bed represents the righteous and wicked dead on this under this earth, whereas God will take only the righteous. The second group of people, the two women, shall be grinding together. Woman represents church. In Revelation, there are two kinds of women represented. Revelation chapter 12 talks about a woman adorned with sun, having stars as a crown, and standing on the moon, is a pure church of God's church. There is also another kind of woman given in Revelation chapter, I believe, 17. This woman is represented as a clothed with scarlet, sitting on a dragon, drinking from a cup of wine, and which has the blood of martyrs. This is a church, unfaithful church, or a church which is persecuting God's true followers. So there are two churches represented in this verse, Luke chapter 17, what we read. Two women grinding. One woman represents God's church, other woman represents the false church. Only the God's church will be taken to heaven, the false church will be left. The other group of people, two men shall be in the field. In the parable of sowing seed, the field is God's church, or this world. So what we see here, two kinds of people are working in the mission, whereas one is called faithful, another is not. Though they may look like working in the field, shall be in the field, whereas one is faithful, other is not faithful. Only the faithful will be taken to heaven, the other will be left out. These are the two groups of people this scripture is mentioning very clearly. And I would like to close with this thought, that how Jesus is going to look like. We have seen that how he is going to appear, but how is he going to look like? None of us had seen Jesus, yet we admire of him. I would like to take you through few verses of how he is going to look like, and this is going to be a thrilling experience. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 2, if you read, it says that there is no beauty that we should desire of him. When Jesus came for the first time on this earth, he did not come with all of his beauty. He had no beauty, no comeliness that we could desire of him. Whereas when he is going to come in the second time, it is going to be a different one. How can we know that? We know in the Mount of Transfiguration, his glory was bright as the sun, but it is going to be more brighter when he is going to appear for the second time. And also after his resurrection, he appeared to his disciples, whereas disciples could not identify him as soon as they saw him. After after he had spoken to them, or after he had opened their eyes, only they could identify, okay, this is Jesus, because his appearance changed after his resurrection, is what we could understand. And I would like to read few verses from Revelation, which gives us a glimpse that how Jesus is going to appear when he is coming for the second time. Revelation chapter 1, verses 13 to 15. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool. His hair is white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as voice as the sound of many waters. This is how Jesus is going to appear on that cloud when he is approaching to this earth, with 10,000 times 10,000 angels surrounding him. And we could see him when he is approaching closer to us. And this is a blessed hope for each and every one of the believers, because there is no more suffering, there is no more separation. God is going to come to take us home. Are we ready? Revelation, the final chapter, gives us an appeal. Though it tells that Jesus is going to come soon, he is going to come very quickly, it tells us one thing in Revelation chapter 22, verse 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. God is going to come with the rewards according to our works, our thoughts, our deeds. May we be found righteous and faithful in his sight, so that he can call us by name. He can call you by your name, saying, come, my faithful servant, and enter into the rest, enter into the place what I have prepared for you. May the Lord bless us as we listen to this message. May we also prepare for the soon coming of Jesus Christ. And may we be found in the group of faithful, righteous, and just. May God bless each and every one of us.